After setting up and then selling their hugely successful wine brand Kim Crawford, Kim and Erica Crawford set about creating something very different in the Awatiri Valley. It's an organic vineyard and a working farm called Loveblock.
My vision for Loveblock has always been not only to have vineyards, but to have a fully integrated, working, diverse organic farm. So we've obviously got certification for the vineyards there, and we put out certified organic wine. Also, all of these paddocks that you see here are certified organic, because my long-term plan is to have Loveblock organic grass-fed beef and sell it to a restaurant in New York.
That's exciting.
Be diverse.
Wow.
And we're also looking at maybe some crops can grow here.
This view is just mind-numbing.
They've always owned a little vineyard down the bottom of the hill, and this was just a tack-on extension that came available.
So this is, I suppose, the place for me. You know when your troubles lift for a little while?
No, I don't really know that.
Well, it happens here sometimes. What we didn't know at the time, probably some of the most difficult soils in Marlborough, coupled with the wind, which blows more than 110 kilometres an hour regularly, coupled with a bronze beetle, has been really quite a challenging.
How heartbreaking.
So we've learned things.
So how on earth did the vineyard... Well, the vineyard didn't survive, did it?
No, those bits there didn't, but the stuff planted further down the hill is fine.
And so when we redesign this particular G-block here, we'll just plant it differently. And there are a number of issues, like, you know, the soil is very depleted and very low in organic matter, so we're working on that. Then we also know that there are 3 little patches that would make 3 really good, small little vineyards where we'd really love to put Chenin Blanc back in and Moscato back in, those 2 things for me. So it really is a long-term thing. We're not selling this.
No. She says.
She says.
Has this been the steepest learning curve ever?
Well, I think we're getting more back into, so we used to sit in the office and do things on the computer because that's what we had to do, but we're more back into the land now, I suppose. So actually doing...
As a couple together, yeah. It's all in the name. It's like small scale, massive love. You can feel it, you know.
You can taste it in the wine.
The team on the ground here are these two. Mel and Doug keep the farm ticking along when Kim and Erica are busy making wine and running the business. But the spot where you can most often find Doug, a qualified viticulturist and organic farming expert, is on top of the hill, making compost.
Doug, this is quite possibly the biggest compost heap I have ever seen. It smells amazing, standing right here at the moment. It smells the most beautiful, earthy, grapey, gorgeous organic smell.
When you get to about, when that compost being over about 2 weeks, that's when it's, you know, it's really fruit cakey because of the grapes.
It is, it's really fruit cakey. It's getting there, eh?
Yeah.
What do you think it actually brings to the vineyard sites?
They're sort of more resilient, like they can cope with the fluctuation in temperature, like we get pretty bad winds and stuff through here, and the vines that have had the compost do seem to cope with it a lot better. And the prunings too, you know, traditionally that's mulched into the ground, but a lot of diseases in grapes will overwinter on grapevine material. So if you composted it, you'll kill those, you know, when you get it up to 70 degrees, it's going to kill all those pathogens off.
You're a complete compost expert, really, aren't you?
You sound like one.
I've had my hands in it for a while.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm the vineyard manager here at Loveblock. It's all about the soil. It's making sure that if the soil's healthy, everything else rolls on after that. Our aim is to make sure that we keep everything in balance and keep it well fed. We've got some black oats here that have gone to seed, so we're using these to generate some leafy green material that we can work back into the soil to boost our organic matter, which will feed all the microbes within the soil. We've got some yarrow here, some alyssum, some Phacelia and some Flanders poppy, and so those are all based around helping bring beneficial insects into the vineyard to try and help stimulate a natural response to any pest or disease that we have in the vineyard. Organics is a thing I'm quite passionate about, and we get to carry that out here, and it's great to see that all follow through and then into such a great end product.
The hub of the Loveblock wheel is nestled out of the wind and down in the valley. It's a converted shearer's quarters that now acts as a shed, a workshop, an office and a smoko room.
If I lived on a vineyard, it would be terrible. I'd just be hoovering. Cheers. Cheers to
Wonderful day here. Yeah.
Kim and Erica Crawford spent decades building up one of the world's most famous brands. Then they did a complete 180 and embarked on an ambitious project that was small on scale and big on love. At the Awatere River Winery across the road, Kim is now making wine with organic grapes. And occasionally he gets a bit of a helping hand from his son Rory as well.
All right, she's foamy.
She's in the middle of fermentation.
Okay, all right.
So this is our organic Pinot Gris. So from just up the way there in the woolshed. Fairly explicit instructions from my wife on the style she wants. So,
so what are those explicit
it's got to be
instructions?
delicate.
Yep.
Yeah, so she really despises those cloying Pinot Gris, so it's going to be dry as well. So it's a little bit of a challenge making dry Pinot Gris, because to get the flavour ripeness, you've got to push the sugars, and then you're going dry is actually quite difficult. But
I can imagine it, but you can even the aromas that you get in the tank in the middle of ferment. There's that mineral kind of flinty character already coming through.
Yeah, I think the vineyard seems to have great minerality for some reason. I don't really know why, but the acids are always very high. And I think with organics, because the vine struggles so much with the weeds and things like that, it's a different fruit source, fruit component for us. So it's much more, I suppose, a natural ripening of the berry rather than the forced one.
Kind of forced ripening.
Forced ripening, which we do with the sustainable stuff.
So tell me about what it's like making organic wine now in your life, because you spent most of your early winemaking career
doing the opposite.
Doing the complete opposite.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest difference with organics is we've got very little in our toolbox, so we've most probably got one spanner rather than a full tool set. They always look untidy.
They do. They look a bit unmanicured, a little bit scruffy.
Yeah.
That's all right, though.
But, and it does reduce our yield, so we never overcrop on organics. You can't.
So what do you think it is about this patch of ground, your love block, that actually, brings out those flavours?
I think it's the lower Dashwood area, which we're in now, especially in Sauvignon Blanc, is renowned for having a very strong stone fruit presence rather than the typical herbaceousness of Sauvignon Blanc.
And do you have to do anything to the soil to kind of boost it, to give it any kind of extra
On top
guts?
of the hill, yes, there's been a disaster. Very high sodium in the soil, sodium content in the soil, so it's almost poisonous. So the vine's roots would go down and then they'd turn around and come back up again because they didn't like what they were going into. So we had to put 5 tonnes per hectare of gypsum on to neutralise the sodium so that the plants will grow. And
have you ever experienced anything like that before?
No. But then we've never really planted on a hill before. Yeah, it's been quite a strong learning.
But you're loving it?
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah. We only deal with fruit off our own property, so I don't have to deal with anybody else, apart from my wife, and that's not there as well.
Kim's wife Erica has planned a very special sensory garden next to the woolshed, one designed specifically around the flavours and scents in their Sauvignon Blanc.
So this is our organic Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh my goodness, I can smell it from here as you're pouring.
Pops out the glass,
It
doesn't
does,
it?
yeah. Well, it doesn't just pop, it just kind of bursts. This is so great that we've, sitting in what is going to be your sensory garden with all the little plants. What have we got sitting along here, the smaller plants?
We've got a bit of fennel, because I think it's particularly a fennel bulb. This gnarly one time.
Oh, for sure.
For sure?
Yeah. It's lemon, it's lime, there's a bit of sort of preserved lemon in there. And I get lemongrass. It's crazy how many different layers of aroma are in this wine. This is so tasty. I was busy thinking...
14, I know.
There's peach, there's lemon, there's lime.
Oh, jalapeno at the end.
Beautiful. Well, yeah, capsicum and jalapeno and white pepper and crazy things. And I can still taste it. And it's completely organic.
Yeah, this is certified, yeah. I'm
beautiful.
really proud of that, because it's hard.
proud of it.
It's hard. And it's got nice texture. And the wine really comes alive when there's a little bit of food. So it really carries and covers a wide range of foods.
Damn true.
The lovely thing about the organic nature of the Loveblock is just that, the love. As well as the grapes, farm manager Mel has taken on loving not only the chickens, but also a couple of very special feathered friends.
So this is breakfast for...
This is breakfast for Porky or Martha, depending on who gets here first.
And they are, Porky and Martha are your residents?
They're our resident falcon. They're such neat things to have around, you know, they're amazing birds. They're rarer than our New Zealand kiwi, which is super important, I think, and I feel really privileged to be able to feed them and look after them and nurture them, and they're quite tame. Porky will get quite close.
Brilliant. And you've worked here for a long time. Well, you've worked with Kim and Erica for a
I've
while.
been on this property. This is my 7th season, so it's my 7th harvest here. And it's a pretty cool place to work. I love the fact that we're not a monoculture vineyard. We have farm animals as well. I love the fact that we're doing the biodynamics and the organics. To me,
Is that something
that's
that you've
really
got a lot of
important. I'm quite
experience
passionate about that. The conditions are harsh, but it's working. You know, the biodynamics, especially the organics block down here, is really, really working.
Next to Loveblock is historic Oakbrook House. The original farmhouse for a massive sheep station, it's now a lovely place to stay for Erica and Kim. And the old servants' quarters are now a little kitchen where Erica's preparing a traditional South African dish called babuti, which is a perfect lunch to keep the crew going at harvest time and perfect with Loveblock Pinot Noir.
Kim's not far away. We've left a space for him, Erica. What's he up to?
He's just dropping a few bins of hand-picked ultra-premium Sauvignon, so he's really fussy about those grapes. I'm really pleased with the way this wine's developing. This is the second vintage from the little vineyard in Central Otago, and of course we didn't know where it was going to go, but really, really pleased with the way, you know, we see a definite handprint of mushroom in there and lovely black fruit.
Spices too, really nice spices and red fruits. I'm trying to think of what this wine reminds me of.
It's very forest floor, and, you know, the bush when it's been raining.
Raindrops down a velvet cloak.
I wasn't expecting that. Raindrops running down a velvet cloak.
He's a poet.
He's such a poet. What's it like working for your parents? Honestly.
It's like working for anyone else, but you get paid less.
Oh, is it quite fun knowing that, you know, you can pour a glass of Loveblock wine and go, oh, yeah, I did part of that. That's me in that bottle.
Yeah, that's the best part about it.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
All right. Cheers. Hooray.